I will not be pushed, filed, stamped, indexed, briefed, debriefed, or numbered. My life is my own.
Sitting here in quarantine, flowers blooming, grass is green, but I can't go outside or I might find something to do. Like making forts with toilet paper, coughing on my friends and neighbors. Let's all get together, cause it's just another flu. Got to keep those wheels turning, even when the tires are burning. We're too big to fail unless we haven't got a dime. If you complain, if you resist, you're labeled as a socialist. That kind of bullshit makes you pissed, but we ain't got the time. Because this land was made for you and me, but where you stand depends on if you're wealthy. As the people work together for a future for us all, we build more walls. But walls and guns and weaponry can't beat the current enemy. Some things that's too small to see is easy to ignore. One day we'll look back and say we can't forget our darkest day, the time we realized that as a whole was so much more than us and them and left and right. A virus doesn't pick a fight based on your politics or rights. It doesn't give a damn. Maybe as a species we have just succumbed to our own ignorance about the world and the purpose of man. This land was made for you and me.
I'm out of here.
And this time around,
This is the view we have from our campsite. Beautiful. Haven't been here in a couple of years. But down here, along the shore, I noticed something. Look at these, Soy.
Look, Dad, look what I found.
It's a fly swatter. Okay. Traveling up this little hillside just off the beaten path. There's some beautiful moss on this tree. But this lichen, I've never seen anything quite like this. It rained last night, and lichen expands in the rain, so this is a very exceptional size for lichens. Beautiful. Just beautiful. Almost looks like vegetation. You'd miss it if you were walking by. But it's not vegetation, and it's not a fungus, and it's not an algae. It's actually a combination, a symbiotic relationship between two organisms. Something. So I was out looking for plants, and I came across this really cool tree. Anytime you see a dead tree in the woods, you can almost guarantee it's going to have fungus. If not on it, then around it. You can tell the difference because of the white underside from your standard vegetation. So there is a nice big piece of lichen we found. That thing is monstrous.
Are we gonna go down? My bike just fell on me. Whoa, 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 I have to keep this sleeve. Dad. This is one leaf I have to keep right here.
So I found this hat, and it has literally strawberries growing through it. And it's a hunting cap that says, "Speak the language."
One day they might turn into
How interesting.
strawberries.
What kind of mushrooms do we have down here?
I don't know, but I found some. I was just hiding down here. Dad was turning a different way. And then I said mushrooms and turned around.
Lots of mushrooms.
But I also found...
Lots. Now there's a nice big... I'm liking it. It's an awesome piece. That's a large one too. Look at this thing. When it's opened up, it's like a behemoth. So I found this beautiful purple flower, and if I'm not mistaken, this is an orchid. Come here and look at this, Sawyer.
What is it?
It's an orchid.
What's an orchid?
Orchids are very special little flowers that only grow on plants, and I am pretty sure it looks like a slipper orchid. Wow, that's beautiful. How amazing. And if I go down to the base here, what do we got? Oh yes, what do we got? Oh, look at this, my friends. That is something extra special. Sawyer just found a monster fungi. You get to name it.
Bobby.
Bobby. That is a big fungi. Look at that thing.
Bobby the fat.
That's a polypore.
Bobby the fatty.
Nice.
Bobby the fatty.
Two beautiful orchids right next to one another. I love to see ferns growing in the woods and the fiddleheads that unroll and become leaves. They're some of the most primitive plants, and rather than reproducing through seeds, each blade is covered with spores. All these little dots, those are little spore sacs. And that's how ferns reproduce. I wanted to say one thing about coming out to the woods, especially in the Pacific Northwest. I would imagine it's different if you live on the East Coast. There are some wooded areas that are very sparsely vegetated. But out here, everything is thick and full. And if you're looking for something like a specific plant, maybe you're looking for a certain type of berry, that can be obvious, a bush. But when it's a ground cover plant, it's nearly impossible to identify anything unless you have the eye. Doesn't mean that you'll necessarily know exactly what you're seeing, right? So as I was walking by, I noticed this little plant. Now, it looks very similar to one that I'm growing at home that I pulled out of the woods about 2 years ago, and I've been growing ever since. I'm not sure what this is, but what I do know is it looks unique. I haven't found any other plants like this around the area, and sometimes that's what you've got to pay attention to. What is unique? What's different? That is a very, very distinct leaf. So I want to dig down and see what's going on down here. And I know some people are very particular about disturbing nature. You know what? We humans, that's what we do. We disturb nature. If I can learn from the experience, it's well worth the effort. So I see it has a tuber-like root that goes way down. So I'm going to try to preserve this, take it home, and grow it in my own garden. Maybe that's a little selfish, but everything that I can do to preserve strange plants to me is, I don't know, it's worth the experience. Well, this is quite interesting. I've hiked up this hill before, but I've never seen this. I've never seen this before. Of course there's some garbage in there, but the first thing I walked up was I noticed this notch. And then I saw that there was a cross member and another notch, and I thought somebody was trying to build a little cabin here, or a little lookout, something of the sort. Not sure what it was meant to be. Of course, you're not supposed to build things here, but this has been here for a long time. I don't know if that was a cross member that got tossed down the hill. I'd just say this would be a badass spot for a little cabin, though. And not to overstate this, but really, when we hike trails, we go too far, too fast. Sometimes you can sit down in a small, 45-degree slope. This thing is, you can't tell, but I'm pretty much sitting on like a 45 to 50-degree slope. But the variety of plant life, beautiful. I don't recall what these are. They're not bracken ferns. I don't think they're maidenhair ferns, but nonetheless they are ferns. And then they have these little purple flowers, which almost remind me of like sedum, which is a succulent. And these little leaves, they're extremely thick. I'll taste them. Oh, that's interesting. They have a very sweet taste. What do we got here? This almost looks like a licorice fern, but I don't think it is. Strange. It's probably not a fern at all, because ferns reproduce through spores, and this is probably just a little, plant that looks like one. And then we've got some wild strawberries back there. These little guys. You can always tell by the 3 groups of jagged leaves. And then we have some, what's this over here? Interesting. So many different kinds of lichen out here. It's just one of my favorite things. And you can see this whole hillside is full of this succulent stuff. This looks like some jelly fungus of some type. Pretty interesting. Wonder what all those little dots are in.
Hello?
We have a little, what looks like a jumping spider on a polypore.
If anybody knows what this is, just tell us.
Yeah, it looks like I think it's a jumping spider, yep.
How do you know?
Just a tree growing out of a stump. I just love the way those look. And then you go down further.
It's a tree growing out of a tree.
And little mushrooms too.
Now.
All kinds of different ones.
Oh, these are tiny.
You never know when you're going to need a corona light.
Dad,
Thanks for coming to Carlo's channel, yo.